We've all seen those movies where bullets are flying, bad guys are getting beaten up, and the woman is somehow walking away from the situation without a scratch or bruise on her. You see, plenty of performers can be trained to throw a punch or shoot a gun, but believability in action roles goes deeper than choreography. It's about presence, it's about physicality, it's about tone. It's about whether we believe, even for a second, that this person has actually lived through the pain and brutality the story is asking them to sell. Actresses like Florence Pugh, Gal Gadot, Ana de Armas are all accomplished performers, but in a genre that depends so heavily on physical believability, on making the audience feel danger, fatigue, pain and grit, something gets lost in translation. So the question I'm going to attempt to answer in this video is, why do certain actresses in some action roles fail to feel believable?
That's a good question.
Ana de Armas has a great screen presence, that much is undeniable. Her rise to fame has been quick and well earned. Blade Runner 2049 proved that she could act, movies like Knives Out showed her range, and then in James Bond No Time to Die, this is the movie that made her an action star. Well, sort of. Let's start with her brief scene in No Time to Die. It was a scene that was well received by many people. She plays a character called Paloma and she's a young agent in the CIA. Audiences tend to remember this scene for its charm and humor, but let's break it down from a filmmaking and performance point of view. So her character meets Bond in a bar while wearing a glamorous dress and high heels, and she also says,
"I know, I've done 3 weeks training."
It's a cheeky line that seems to give the audience permission to forgive any weaknesses that she might demonstrate in the field. But the thing is, she looks fantastic doing it. She glides between elegance and being lethal. She cracks smiles and sprays bullets around like there's no tomorrow, and executes takedowns with an almost dance-like flow to it. Ana de Armas plays it with a lightness that's refreshing. She's not trying to outperform or seem more tough than Bond. Instead, she just brings a playful energy to it. But it also lacks the kind of psychological or physical grounding you'd expect from someone who's trained to kill. The director uses medium and wide shots sparingly. Most of the scene is cut together quickly, and the editing does a lot of work to make her look fluid and dangerous. There are very few extended takes that allow the action to breathe. And all of this is fine, it works to some extent, but it only works because she's just a very small part of the movie. And this brings me along nicely to the movie Ballerina. And this is where Ana de Armas takes centre stage in the John Wick universe, a place which is defined by relentless violence. This is where the question of her action credibility really comes into play. In theory, the casting makes sense. No Time to Die proved that she could handle a gun, and it also proved that she could do a fighting scene. This casting makes complete sense, right?
Wrong!
The thing is, Ballerina is a completely different animal to James Bond No Time to Die. She's not just a sidekick or a brief part of the movie anymore. She is the whole film, and that comes with serious physical and emotional demands. Anna moves through her fight scenes with technical competence. She hits her marks, she does the rolls, the disarms, the John Wick style 2 to the chest, 1 to the head combos, but there's a stiffness to it, a rehearsed quality, as though she's performing a dance and not trying to survive a fight. Compare this to Keanu Reeves as John Wick, who fights like he's problem solving in real time. He looks tired, he breathes hard, you see the decision making in every eye movement. With Anna, the choreography is clean, but too clean. It feels like a performance, not natural instinct. To be fair, Ana de Armas is not bad at action. She has potential and she clearly trains and commits to the roles. But in terms of believability, the key word, she has yet to make audiences forget that she's Ana de Armas. Florence Pugh, by most standards, is a decent actor. Her performances in The Wonder, Little Women and Oppenheimer have all shown depth, control and emotional range that many actors twice her age haven't yet developed. But when it comes to her action roles in Marvel, like Yelena in Black Widow, Thunderbolts and the Hawkeye series, something doesn't quite land. Despite being positioned as the next-gen Black Widow, Florence Pugh often feels like an actor doing action, rather than an action star fully immersed in the fight. Let's go through it. In the Black Widow movie, if you remember that, the sisters haven't seen each other in years. There's tension, there's history, and they express it in the way Marvel characters typically do, by throwing each other into walls and flipping over kitchen counters and whatever else. But here's the catch, the fight is undermined by the music. It's rhythmic, it's clean, and it's almost stylishly detached. Now if you compare that fight between the Bride and Vernita Green in Kill Bill Volume 1, there's no music throughout this scene. Just the sounds of grunting and plate shattering, as well as bodies colliding with furniture and whatever else. That silence, or rather that lack of a score in the background, forces the audience to hear the violence. It exposes their breathing, their pain, and the environment itself becomes a character. It feels spontaneous, it feels personal, and it feels full of desperation. And Marvel kind of compounded these issues for Florence Pugh in the Hawkeye series. Her scenes opposite Hailee Steinfeld's Kate Bishop are framed with a wink and smile vibe that undermines every moment of apparent danger. Like the fight between Kate and Yelena in the office building. It's just jam-packed with jokey dialogue and constant cuts that dilute any sense of the tension. There's no escalation, no desperation. It basically just feels like a fight in a school playground. Like even when Florence Pugh leaps out of the window or does connect a punch, the direction undermines it with banter. And that's not necessarily her fault. It's a stylistic choice baked into Marvel's tone. But it does mean that she never really gets the chance to be a frightening or formidable character. The bottom line is Florence Pugh is often hailed as Marvel's next big thing. And she might be, but if she's going to be a true action star, the material has got to meet her some of the way. And lastly, let's talk about Gal Gadot, who is perhaps the most fascinating example of a modern action star who seems like they should work, but more often than not fails to feel believable in her roles. She's reasonably tall, she's photogenic from every single angle, and she brings a calm and composed energy to the roles she plays. But there's a difference between screen presence and believability in a fight. And that brings me to the film Red Notice, where in this movie we experience what might be the most unrealistic moment in cinematic history, where 5'10", 60 kg Gal Gadot manages to take down 6'4", 118 kg Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
You serious?
If that alone wasn't unbelievable enough, she somehow manages to beat up Ryan Reynolds at the same time. The problem isn't just that a woman is beating up two men. The problem is how easily she does it, with no visible effort, no sweat, no real strategy. There's no use of environment, no speed versus strength tactics. She just beats both of them up. A 5'10", 60 kg man or woman taking down a 6'4", 118 kg opponent without a tactical edge, surprise, or serious technique is utterly ridiculous. It's just completely absurd.
God, you're making me beat up grass!
Now the thing is, in Wonder Woman, especially the first film, Gal Gadot is arguably at her best. Why? Because the character is mythic and stylized. Diana isn't supposed to be gritty or reactive. She's a demigod, so Gal Gadot's presence works perfectly. And the movie doesn't ask her to be vulnerable. It asks her to be iconic, and it works because the context fits the performance. But that's exactly the problem when she tries to apply the same tone to grounded action films like Red Notice or Heart of Stone, where the context demands something more flawed and more human. At the end of the day, it's not about how good the fight choreography is or how many punches get thrown. It's about believability. It's about whether we, the audience, actually buy that the person on screen could survive the world that they're in. Not just physically, but emotionally too. What makes the scenes like I showed you earlier from Kill Bill unforgettable isn't just the violence, it's the rawness, the dirt, the sweat, the fact that you would believe that those two women would genuinely kill each other. And no, not every actor needs to become an action star, but when studios keep casting based on looks, franchise value, or Instagram appeal, what we get are fights that feel less realistic. So studios need to start recognizing the difference between stylish and convincing, and that's the blunt truth of it.